Hi, this is Roger with Kinetics in Tucson, Arizona. We're selling this 04 F350 crew cab long bed. It's a Lariat, which is leather, FX4 off-road suspension package. It's a 6.0 turbo diesel. We purchased it. It was a new car, Dallas area new car dealer trade. We purchased it a long time ago. We've never gotten around to it until now. My shop manager passed away on January 2nd, and so I just sent it to the best shop in town. That's a good friend of ours. We thought it needed injectors, and then we found out it had bad compression, so we bought a motor for it. Anyway, it's easier just to tell you what's going on here. This is the first time we've ever done this. We're selling this as a mechanic special. It's still broken, but it runs great. It's weird. Anyway, it's a huge bummer. But somebody's going to take advantage of this, and might as well be somebody in the public rather than a dealer. So it arrived in Tucson running very poorly. Compression check, 2 bad cylinders. Purchased used motor. Carfax was great on it, which I'll show you the motor Carfax that's in the truck now. No rust, great climate from a truck in a side wreck. It was hitting on the side, so the motor wasn't affected by the accident. Odds are excellent motor, will be okay. Monsoon installs motor with 8 new injectors, new Bulletproof EGR cooler, new Ford oil cooler, radiator hose, serpentine belt, coolant, oil, and filter. Fires up. It runs great. It still runs great. Runs great. Let's see what else we have to say here. Fires up, runs great. Very fast. Previous motor ran on same tuner. So the tuner that was on the motor that was previously bad, was hooked up to this motor that's in it, and it ran great. But it was on 1 to 5, with 1 being the slowest setting and 5 being race car setting, which is probably why the previous motor was blown up. All right, so we turned it down to 5, drove it around. It runs great, but it was you take off the coolant cap and you get water pressuring out of the cap. We burped it. We thought there was water, air in the lines. It's not the case. We are not deceptive. We will tell you what's going on. Somebody's probably got a set of heads, which is what it needs, in their garage, their mechanics, and they can take advantage of this and everything will be fine. But we said, okay, time out. We can run this out to the auction and sell it to the dealers. No one will know, and they'll pay 10 or 11 for it. Or we can tell the public what's going on. They can pay, 10 or 11 or 12 or whatever it is, and they have heads, and they have, it takes about 20 hours to do the work, and they can do it and have a badass truck, with the oil cooler and the new injectors and everything. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to see if that works or not. I do know that the AC blower motor, which is a cheap part, is non-functional. And I do know that it needs cats. It also has a crack in the windshield. Right there. If you want a windshield, we'll just add $189 to deal. I just said we're done spending money on this truck. We spent a fortune on this truck, and it sucks because it actually runs great. Still runs great. And it could run great for years, just like this. But we don't want you to know. This is what we're into it. Monsoon 2752, best salvage 2770, Holmes Tuttle 1440 for injectors, oil cooler 307, Bulletproof EGR cooler 348, Merle's detail $7,900. So you can get the windshield, you can get the blower motor, and if you're an Arizona buyer and you buy it, we have to get a catalytic converter on it to pass smog. We'll add $450 to the deal for that. Okay, if you're out of state and you want a cat, let us know. We'll get a cat put on it. Obviously it was a 5th wheel, so this freaking tailgate's rough. It was just laying in the back when we bought it. Just a weird situation here. Anyway, I'm going to show you all the receipts from our repairs, so this is on the up and up, that we paid for it, what's in here. I'll show you the Carfax from the motor. I'll show you the Carfax from the truck. Everything's here. I'll show you the title. Everything will be here. And somebody's going to make a hell of a deal. Okay, let's see. So let me start here. So here's the VIN. Best salvage. We bought a motor. Motor was $2,700. Pickup engine, $2,700. Okay, there's the motor VIN, ends in B88054. Right. Monsoon Automotive. There's your VIN. Injectors, engine block installed, lube oil filter, blah blah blah. Spent $2,752 there. Okay, so we're at $5,400. Bulletproof EGR cooler, $348. Okay, Injectors, 2,800, but the core was 1,440, so we really only are out of pocket 1,440 only. So it's got new injectors in it. Ford oil cooler, okay, that's from Home Settle Ford also. Here's your serpentine belt from Merle's, radiator hose from Merle's, antifreeze from Merle's. Monsoon was kind enough to throw in the oil in the filter. Thanks. Here's the Kelly Blue Book on it. Range of 13.4 to 17, with a private party value of 15,228. Okay, so that's that. Here's your Carfax history of events affecting this vehicle's value. They blend the Carfax and the Kelly. They come up with a retail value of 17,330. There's your VIN. Minor accident reported 5/27 of 08. No major title problems. Okay, which is good. And it was service great. I mean, you know, when you put a tune on these things, you know, I would suggest if you just go with injectors, I mean, not injectors, with heads, use ARP Hudsteads and torque them down correctly. So it was in a minor accident, minor damage with another motor vehicle, okay? So it was in New Mexico. It was oil change there. I mean, here was with Monsoon. Carfax doesn't report everything, obviously. I mean, bad. I wish that was it. Anyway, so that's that. And here's the motor. So this is why we thought the motor would be fine when we bought it. Okay, so this is the Las Vegas motor that we bought from Best Salvage. So it's in Vegas, and it looked great on the ground. When out of the truck on the ground on the pallet, it looked brand new. You know, in Vegas, you don't have any rust, you don't have any snow or weather or anything like that. Service, 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 service. Bang, 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 bang. Side, left and right side impact, not on the front end. And then they pulled the motor and sold it to us. I mean, here's the title. Okay, there's your VIN. This guy sold it. Thomas something, obviously protecting his name. He sold it to the dealership. The dealership sold it to Wheel Kinetics, 142,400 miles. So there you go. All right, let me fire this guy up. There we go. And then you got the little, this guy will start up, and I don't even want to mess with this thing. The guys at the shop said it works really well. If you mess with it, it'll happen, right? Alright, let's see. There's your edge tuner here. Ford stamp. Ford stamp. Aftermarket airbox. Ford stamp here. Ford stamp here. Ford stamp here. And no blow-by. Makes it even worse. I mean, the funny part about this is being honest has a price. So does locking yourself out of the car. That has a price too. You know, we could easily have sold this car just the way it is and nobody would ever know. And it could go on for years and years the way it is. Or it could go for a couple thousand miles and blow up. But that's not how we roll. We don't do that shit. Ah, dang it. Window locks. So, but we do not know how to do, let's see, that. All right, back to the other side. Anyway, you'll know everything that we know, and it's always been that way. And if you didn't, there's your window up and down. Now that I've unlocked the windows, that's how we roll. Off and on. See, forward, back, up, down. So somebody is going to score a truck that's tuned like crazy. That's an expensive tuner kit too. You know, even Monsoon actually has a couple sets of heads, and we were almost going to do it, but I'm like, God, I have to pay you guys another $2,700 to take it apart, and I got to buy the heads from you for, you know, $1,500 or somewhere around there. Probably more like $1,200. But I'm like, so I got to spend $4 grand you know, and I'm going to be into it more money. There's no way I'm going to get my money. I mean, I'm losing money no matter what. Might as well just stop here and find some guy who has a set of heads that he owns. You know, the internet finds people, right? So we're going to find the people that need this truck. That's our goal here, right? Window, 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 window. Seat forward, seat back, seat up, seat down, tilt up and down, up and down, heated seat, on and off, tilt wheel. Here's what your tuner looks like. I don't even want to mess with this thing, but I will. This is loading, programs. Oh God, I'm gonna leave it alone right here. I've been told to leave it alone because I'm the kind of guy that once I figure out what the 5 level is like, I'm liable to go out and do something with that knowledge, which is a bad idea. So I'm not gonna. Alrighty then. Alright, I think we got a radio here, but it's an aftermarket radio, and I always tell people you're on your own with these things, and it's so old, who's gonna want that thing, right? Adjustable pedals, up and down. Some sort of an old radio setup here probably goes with that. Who cares? Window. Remember the steel bumper on the front? Remember that that's going to affect the airbags. If you get in a wreck, you're not going to want that on there if you want airbags. So take it off, put a factory bumper back on it if you want airbags to work. All right, let's go on. Well, actually, let's try the 4-wheel drive first. There's low range drive and reverse in 4x4. Perfect. Neutral. Now we go to 4 high. Low range will go away. It does. Drive. Reverse. I'm told this is pretty fun to drive. I'm going to get out here and we're going to find out together. Even in the 1 setting. Now we're going back to 2-wheel drive. Oh, mirrors. Out, in, up, and down. Other side. Out, in, up, and down. Okay. Overdrive. There's tow on and off, right? All right, now let's go drive. If you come to Tucson to drive at home and you're from Arizona, we're gonna add 450 for a cat. If you're from out of state, let us know if you need a cat and we will get it for you, okay? And add 450 to the deal. If you need a windshield, it's $189. We're just done spending money here. If it doesn't sell in about 2 weeks, we're gonna take it to the auction. We're probably gonna get probably 11. These things are off the charts expensive right now at auctions right now. It's almost what you're paying retail for them at the auction. So I'll probably get 11, 12, you know. If this thing was fine, I would probably be able to sell it bulletproof with the Bulletproof EGR cooler and the Ford oil cooler and the whole bit for 15, 16, 16.5, maybe a little more even. But it's got this issue and I'm just not dealing with it. I'm not going to go into the motor a second time, even though I know what'll fix it. It's just not, just a waste of time, and we're just chasing money with money. And so I'm going to let the next informed mechanic do it. Anyway, there's all your gauges, right? No temperature gauge on, nothing. Oil pressure is great, of course. God, it's so aggravating. Yeah, and this is a very fixable issue. Anyway, if you come to Tucson drive at home, you will pay your state tax rate, whatever that is, plus our city tax of 2.7% and a $250 dock fee. Then we'll add $450 if you need a cat, if you're an Arizona resident, or if you need a cat. If you pay by wire, ship out of state, all you're going to pay is agreed-upon price, and that's it. Once we receive your wire, we'll fill out the title with your name, your company's name and address. We'll scan it into your online file and mail it to you. We even scan in the envelope we mail it in. You'll have it shipped to you. If you need help, let us know at the beginning of the transaction about shipping. Whether you need our help or not, we can roll it into the price of the vehicle. We can do it for you. We can do a lot of things, all right? Deposit's $500. Once we get your deposit, we have a deal. Until then, it will stay for sale. Last part of every video, I say the same thing. We don't have salesmen. We don't have bottled water with our name on it. We don't have a fancy location. You know, we have a crappy road, and we have an industrial site that our uncle charges $1 a year for. You're not paying our salesman's commission because we don't have any. So you're saving a bunch of money, and you're saving a fortune because we got really unlucky on this motor we bought from Best Salvage. Simple as that. But there's a fortune in parts attached to it, inside it and attached to it, between injectors and Ford oil cooler and Bulletproof EGR cooler. You know, it's just, we're just done, okay? So this is where I always tell people, you know, at the auto mall, if they sold you this truck, they would sell it to you for $17,000 or $18,000, and part of that would be money set aside at the time of purchase for future repairs. We don't charge you enough money for a vehicle to repair your truck after the fact, and this one has a problem. And we're not fixing it. We're not fixing anything. All right, you're gonna steal this truck. All right, this is on Tune 1 and it runs great. And this is what blew everyone's mind at Monsoon. Rick over there and Jerry over there, they're experts on 6.0s. They thought for sure it had a water bubble in it, or an air bubble in it somewhere that wouldn't clear. And they ran it, and they burped it, and they burped it, and they ran it, and they burped it, and they're like, and then they drove it, and took the cap off, and water, boom. Not like a hurricane, but just pushing out over the cap, not like bursting. So it's very early in the process for this motor, which is why, you know, it's most likely a set of heads, you know, with head studs would be the answer, and then the new injectors and the whole bit, you'd be good to go, you know. But you know, we are not writing checks for this vehicle at any time, for anything. Okay, you're the owner on day one. If you don't like what we're talking about, don't buy it. Okay, but you know everything we know, and I wish I were not having to tell that story, because we would just put this thing on for like 16.9 and sell it for 16.3 or 16.2 or something, or at least mid-15s or higher. Instead, it's going to be $3,000 or $4,000 less than that. And if you have a set of heads and you're a mechanic, you're going to crush it. Anyway, that's it. Thank you.